Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I'm Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. And we're going to be doing it with my I am cards. Each and every one of these cards is full of positive affirmations, and I've got 5 new ones for you today. I want to say good morning to everybody who is here. Grant, I know that you actually already know what's going on today because you attended the Nightfall last night. So I want to say thanks so much for being there last night, and thank you for being here again this morning. It's really is it's an honor to be able to start and end people's day with them. So y'all are amazing. So just good morning, Grant. Good morning, Dennis, Amanda, Lauren, and Brenda Jean. It is good to see you guys here, as well as the other folks who haven't commented yet, but I know you're watching because my little indicator shows me that I have about 16 people watching right now. That is super cool. So yeah, good morning, good morning. Thank you, Brenda Jean. She's wishing me luck on my new job. I am going to rock it. I am excited. Good morning, April. Anyways, yeah, we are going to be going through an I am card today. I am going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card, and I'd like for you to say out loud, I am. Say it so you can hear it. Say it so the people around you can hear it. Good morning, Maya. It is great to see you here as well. Say it so the folks around you can hear it. As we affirm these things about ourselves, we make them true in our lives. And so much of our life happens internally. It happens inside. Before we ever speak a word, we have a thought. And our job here in our role is to really improve the quality of those thoughts. And so I've noticed that as I've improved the quality of my thoughts, I've also improved the quality of my actions. And in doing so, have improved the quality of my own life. So without further ado, let's get right to it by saying that today I am committed. I am committed. I dedicate myself wholeheartedly. So I am committed. I dedicate myself wholeheartedly. Are you committed? You are committed. You dedicate yourself wholeheartedly. And I am writing that down in the chat. And for once, Frank didn't beat me to it. I am writing that down in the chat. And I am committed. I dedicate myself wholeheartedly, and so are you. You are also committed. You are a committed group of people. So you guys are committed. I mean, I know that you're committed. Let me tell you about how I know that you're committed, because so many of you actually come to this broadcast every single day. I see you here, and I appreciate you being here. Just like I was telling Grant a little bit earlier on in the broadcast how much I appreciated him coming to the Nightfall, and then the next morning, it showing up for the wake up call. That takes commitment. I know a lot of you guys have alarms to catch this broadcast, and how cool that is. Thank you. I'm committed because I do it every day. I wake up at 8 o'clock every morning and I get ready to do this 9 a.m. broadcast, and I have dedicated myself wholeheartedly to it. So it is a really amazing thing that we all do together. So thank you for being part of I call it a co-creation. We are creating this together. Thank you guys for being committed to saying the words and committed to living them, committed to making the comments, committed to loving on each other, responding to each other, sharing the broadcast. As you do that, as you dedicate yourself wholeheartedly to this endeavor, it grows. And as it grows, it gets to be more valuable to all of the other people around us, which ultimately is the goal. That's ultimately the thing that we're doing. We are working for the people around us, even as we're working on ourselves. We're supposed to treat other people the way that we want to be treated. But how do we know how we want to be treated until we first treat ourselves that way? I chose the image of a bonsai tree for this card because of just how much commitment they require. If you've ever grown a plant, you know that a plant requires commitment, but a bonsai tree in particular requires a tremendous amount of commitment because they take forever to grow. I mean, in some cases, bonsai trees have been growing for thousands of years, and they just require a dedication and really a focus. Bonsai trees are teeny tiny. A lot of people think that a bonsai tree is some kind of a different form of tree, but what a bonsai tree really is, it's a full size tree that's just not allowed to get full sized, and it is trimmed and it's pruned in such a way as to keep it the size that it is. And so bonsai trees occur naturally in places where a tree has sprouted up, but in soil that is really not fully capable of accepting it, and yet life finds a way anyways. We are committed. We dedicate ourselves wholeheartedly. And if we would like to accomplish anything, we have to dedicate ourselves wholeheartedly. There's a First Nations proverb that says, if you chase two rabbits, you will lose them both. And so we have to be fully committed to the rabbits we chase. We have to chase it until we catch it. And then once we catch it, we can chase another one. And as we dedicate ourselves, as we dedicate ourselves, we learn more about who we are, and that is the ultimate value. Being committed to something is not about the end result. It's about the person we become all along the way. And so that's just something that we have to understand, that the commitment and dedicating ourselves wholeheartedly is not necessarily about achieving an end result. It's about growing. It's about maturing. It's about becoming a different and a better person. It's becoming the version of ourselves that we see when we close our eyes and we and we imagine who we could be. There's a lot of comments. I'm going to go through some of them, as I am committed to really making this broadcast about you, and because it is. But you know, Amanda says that she is ready to take on this week and love starting it right here every day. Thank you so very much about for affirming that what I'm doing is powerful and valuable. This is the third or fourth iteration of me doing something like this. I've always wanted to just bring daily inspiration into people's lives, and now I get to do it like this. Hooray! And there will be even better things to come. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you very much, Amanda. Let's see. We have a whole bunch of folks who are committed and dedicate themselves wholeheartedly. And Janet makes a good point. She says, I'm committed. I dedicate myself wholeheartedly when led intuitively to do so. It is so important for us to follow those internal intuitions, those internal leanings, because as we do, they help us understand the things that are worthy of committing ourselves to and the things that are just a passing fancy. One of the litmus tests I use when I'm trying to determine is something that I am thinking about committing myself to, is it something that's passing, or is it something that really is edifying to my life? And the way that I figure that out, my personal litmus test is, am I able to sustain that commitment for an extended period of time without feeling like it's a burden? Once it starts to feel like a burden, I re-question the commitment and I say, okay, well, why does it feel like a burden? And if it feels like a burden because it's just a hard time in the commitment, well, no problem. I continue to be committed. But if it's a burden because I realize my life priorities have shifted, or perhaps I thought that I wanted something, but then realized later on that I didn't want it, then it's a totally different kind of a feeling. So that's the test that I use. Let's see here. Amanda says, I'm committed. I dedicate myself. This can sometimes work out to be tricky if it shouldn't have been started in the first place. Yeah, which is what I just mentioned, Amanda. And that's a really good way of us having a litmus test is sometimes it can be tricky. We commit ourselves to something and then say, well, I want to be the kind of person who finishes what I start. But what if what we started wasn't really what we wanted to start in the first place? I remember that. I mean, when I was quite a bit younger, my dad gave me an incredible gift of a career. So I started working when I was 11, but I never really liked that career. And so there was a huge part of me that had to go through this internal argument with myself about, well, do I start something new and have to start from the bottom? Or do I just continue in this thing that I'm good at and I can earn a good amount of money at, but I'm not really super fulfilled with? And so do I remain committed to something like that? And ultimately, I decided to do something different, which did involve all of the costs and the trade-offs that I mentioned, but at the same time has ended up a lot more valuable in my life. Let's see here. Brenda Jean says, I prefer if you talked about continuing to be committed through the hard work on something you didn't like. Ooh, there's a deep question. So I'd say that I would say that the first iteration of this show was called the Maui Paul Radio, and Maui Paul Radio was something that that had parts in it that I really did not like doing. I enjoyed. So essentially, Maui Paul Radio was a whole bunch of audio snippets that I had recorded, and then I wrote a computer program to put them all together into a logical show that always sounded different because it was just being programmatically or algorithmically created. And that part was a lot of fun. But then I got to the part where I had to figure out, well, how do I broadcast to the internet? And I hated it. It was like dealing with Amazon Web Services and creating private virtual machines and virtual servers. And it was a bunch of spreadsheets, and I freaking hated it. But I persisted because I knew that it was something that I wanted to do. I knew that that this sort of activity was something that I really, really wanted in my life. And so so I did. I persisted through doing it, and in the end, I got something that I liked, and more importantly, that was a stepping stone to the next thing that I'm doing. Which this project doesn't have any of that kind of friction to it. Um, Janet says that balance is a key component in my life, so I actively pick and choose where and what degree my energies and efforts go. I know when my whole heart is needed, and that amount of effort is good for me, and when that amount of effort is good for me to give. What a wonderful perspective, Jan. Um, Brent Jean says, I'm dedicating myself to my new job. Indeed, I am. I start a new job at 10:30 a.m. today. Work from home. I'm going to work right from this chair. I'm going to blur out the background because Zoom has that functionality. But it is something that I'm committing to, and it's something that's really moving my career forward in ways that I want it to. So I'm really excited about that. Excited about what I'm doing, and I'm also excited about the fact that my job's not going to start until 10:30 or 11 every day. So the wake up call will not be interrupted. I'm going to keep on showing up here 9 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday. Yeah, Frank says he's committed to improving himself and the world around him. And let me tell you, Frank, every time I meet you, I know that that's true. I watch you grow. I watch your partner April grow. I watch your friends grow, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So good job. Keep at it, brother. You're doing a fantastic work. Dennis is committed to starting a new chapter in life and finding happiness and self-love again. Ultimately, Dennis, you have to find self-love before you can find any other kind of love. We have to love ourselves before we know what love looks like. Before we can love anybody else, we have to first love ourselves. We're supposed to, in the Bible, Jesus says this really crazy thing. He said, "Love your enemies." And when I think about loving enemies, my first and most potent enemy is myself. And so once I learn how to love myself, then I can learn to love other people. But first, I have to learn to love myself because I am a self-sabotaging mofo sometimes. And so it's really important for me to recognize that and be like, okay, I can love even my own imperfections. We know ourselves better than we know anybody else. And that means that we know our faults, we know our flaws, we know our shortcomings, we know our screw ups more than anybody else does. And when we can love that, then that sets us up to be able to love the people around us. Let's see here. Brenda Jean talks about how you have to pursue what you want. It doesn't just magically appear. A lot of people want something without wanting to do the work. Yeah, don't we all want the result without doing the work? Oh my gosh. I was talking to a friend who had actually achieved a result that he'd been working on for many years. And he was talking about how unfulfilled he was in it. He was unfulfilled in the result. And so I asked him, I said, why is it that you've got the result, you got the thing that you wanted. Why aren't you fulfilled in it? And he said, I don't really know why. I said, but also, if you look at, who were you 5 years ago when you started this project, and who are you today? Do you like the guy you are today more than you like the guy 5 years ago? And he said, oh yeah, I love the guy I am today more than the guy I was 5 years ago. I said, so that was the result. I said, the little tchotchke that you got, okay, the really expensive tchotchke that he bought himself as a reward for accomplishing his goal, that was not the thing that was ultimately going to make him happy. That was just the thing that got him to do the goal. The real value is the person he became along the way. And his commitment, his dedication did that. Lauren is committed to walk around in circles in a neighborhood with good signal to be with your friends on the call and get my steps in. Darn right, Lauren, you can do this and that. As Jan says all the time, we are and kind of people. You can get steps and signal just by walking around in circles. All the people in that neighborhood are probably wondering, like, what on earth is she doing? She must love this neighborhood. but really she just loves being with her friends. So I'm glad that is how it is. Dan is back in Snellville. I'm glad that you're back in Snellville. I guess I'm no longer representing in Omaha. You gotta find some friends over in Omaha and get them to watch the wake up call so that we are still representing. Um, Let's see here. Amanda says her relationship is the epitome of this card. Over the past 21 years, we've had great times, but more times we've had to fight wholeheartedly to keep them. The relationship is so important in this card. You know, when I look back at the good friendships that I have, those friendships, those relationships, every single one of them has been hard won. We have all of us have had to overcome the feelings of malaise in the relationship or conflict in the relationship. I've had it, you've had it, we've all had it. But as we continue to be committed to the relationship itself, and we realize that there are parts of us, we love these other people that are in the relationship with us, then we our commitment allows the relationship to continue. There's a statistic that goes around when people are getting married that something like 50% of marriages end in divorce, and usually within 2 years. And psychologists have shown that the reason it happens within 2 years is because that's when all the feelings go away and the commitment has to start. And I've noticed that in my relationship, that after about 2 years, the feelings go away, the commitment has to start, and that's the real choice point. Um, let's see here. Jen says, when I choose to love my enemies, I realize I don't have any. Right? My perspective on that is that I don't have any enemies. If somebody wants to be my enemy, then that's their choice. But their feelings about me are not my business. They can have whatever feelings they want. I'm going to love them just the same. Anyways, it is wonderful to have all you guys here today. We are running like this is almost a 20-minute call. Thank you so much to everybody who came by and joined in on it. I really appreciate you guys for being here. So thank you so much. I see that you showed up. Dennis, Dan came in, not from Omaha, but back to Omaha tomorrow. That's good. I'll be representing in Omaha again. Let's see here. Grant showed up. Janet, Frank, Amanda, Brenda, Jean. Lauren came by. It is good to see you as well. Let's see here. I know that there's some other folks. Amy Joe came by today. Good to see you here, Amy Joe. Let's see. Doobie. I know Maya was here. It's good to see you. April is here. So yeah, you guys are all amazing people. Thank you for coming on by. And Susan is waving. Hey there, Susan. It's good to see you here as well. You guys are a wonderful group of people. It is great to be able to come here, and I remain committed to the wake-up call. As Brenda Jean mentioned, I started a new job today. I'm really excited to start that job, but I have also committed myself to doing this call, and I will continue to do it every morning, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. So I appreciate you guys. I love you. I will talk to you later. Until I see you again, aloha from paradise.